This will be for the con assignment sampling methods. Now, before you do the exercise, I highly recommend that you go through the article Sampling Methods Review and not only read it, but answer the sample questions, okay? The articles are not graded. You just get a check mark if you read it or click on it. All right, I'll just go through it briefly. A convenient sample is when the researcher chooses a sample that is readily available in some non-random way. Like, for example, a researcher polls people as they walk by on the street. A voluntary response is when the researcher puts out a request for members to join the sample and people decide whether or not to be in it. For example, a TV show host asks his viewers to visit his website and respond to an online poll. So those are bad ways to sample: convenience and voluntary response. So now the good ways: simple random sample. Every member and set of members has an equal chance of being included. All right, for example, a teacher puts students' names in a hat and chooses without looking to get a sample of students. Stratified is when the population is split into groups. The overall sample consists of some members from every group. All right, so for example, let's say they chose 100 students and they did 25 freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, so some from each group. Cluster, also the population is split into groups, and the sample consists of every member from some of the groups. Okay, for example, an airline wants to survey its customers, and they randomly select 5 flights that day and survey every passenger on those flights. So the difference is stratified is all the groups are chosen, but you only chose some people from each group. And the cluster is when all the groups are chosen, but you only choose a select number of groups, yet you choose each and every person from those groups that are chosen. Systematic is when they are put in some order, and the starting point is selected at random, like every nth member. Okay, so a principal takes an alphabetized list of students, and every 20th student is selected. So that's systematic random sample. All right, so back to the exercise. Security workers at an airport randomly choose one of the first 50 people to pass through a checkpoint. After that, they choose every 50th person who passes for extra screening as well. Okay, clearly that's systematic. Remember, systematic is when they choose every nth person, and here they choose every 50th person. Systematic. School chooses 3 randomly selected athletes from each of its sports teams to participate in a survey about athletics at the school. Okay, when you, let me draw this real quick. Let's say you have groups A, B, and C, and you choose like 3 members from each group, A, B, and C, but you make sure you choose some from each and every group. That's going to be stratified. Each student at a school has a student ID. Counselors generate 50 random identification numbers, and the students associated with those numbers are asked to take a survey. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's a simple random sample, all right, because it's based on student ID, and they just choose 50 of them based on the ID. Okay, it's not like they choose every 10th student or something like that. So it's not systematic random. Pretty sure it's simple random. All right, inspectors for a hospital with multiple locations randomly select some of the locations for a cleanliness check. The inspectors check every operating room in the hospitals that were chosen. So if you have multiple groups that you're choosing from, and you eliminate some of the groups, okay, but you choose every person or item within the groups that you chose, That's cluster. Okay, it's not stratified, that's cluster. Okay, so that's what they did here. They randomly selected some of the location, but they checked every room. So that's a cluster. All right, a quality control worker at a factory selects the first 10 items she sees as her sample for the day. All right, really that's not random. Okay, she just checks the first 10 items she sees. So that's not random, and it's definitely not systematic. All right, so really, that's just a convenience sampling. She just did the first 10. It's not random, so it's convenience. Okay, convenience is a bad sampling method. So convenience is not one of the choices. It's just none of the above here. So just to confirm, the employee is choosing a sample that is readily available, but not necessarily random. Okay, so it's none of the above because this is a convenience sample. A store prints a request on each receipt, asking customers to fill out a survey online if they are willing. Okay, if they are willing, clearly that's a voluntary response. Okay, voluntary response is one of the bad methods. So it's not listed here. So it's none of the above. All right, employees at a website want to select a sample. They randomly select one of the first 25 each day. They also show the message to every 25th user from that point on. All right, since it's every nth, every 25th, pretty sure that's going to be systematic. All right, so nothing to calculate here. You might have to do this one twice to get a good score, but once you get the hang of it, it shouldn't be a problem.